Well, yes, the issue is that Russia's only real threat, if we're going to listen to Sergiy, is from the air. And that raises the question about a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Many people are calling for that because there's a humanitarian argument, arguably militarily as well. It probably would essentially defeat Russia. But if you've got the West shooting Russian planes out of the sky, then that's World War III, isn't it?
It is, and that's the problem, and that's why it hasn't happened so far. But I think that was an incredibly powerful and moving interview, not because of who he is, not because he's a tennis player, but because he talked about, well, you were describing the SNP before. That's nationalism. That's actually quite dangerous. What he's doing is about patriotism. It's an entirely different thing. And he talked about the guilt of leaving his family, but he was also talking about the guilt that he feels now, because he's there to look after his father and his brother. My husband is Bosnian, and when the war started, he was living here. He tried to get back to Bosnia to fight, because he said, I will never live with this. I have to go and fight. And he couldn't get back in. The Serbs took the airport, so however he couldn't get back. But he would have done that. And that's, I think, what's driving all of those men that are there now. It's not about that he's a famous tennis player. Yes, he could have dodged it. He could have stayed in comfort and whatever. But the bottom line is, all the people, the courage is not about what these people do for a living. It's what's in their heads, and it's what they feel about their country. And I thought that was incredibly moving and powerful, because you see him. He's sad. But he's not beaten, and he's going to fight. Yeah. And he's got 2 young kids, and he's got a wife somewhere else, and they will be going nuts. They will be. She would have, I would imagine, held on physically and said, "You can't go." But he knows, as a man, he couldn't stay with them either.
Well, yes, lots more from my panel. Daily Express columnist Carole Malone, senior reporter at the newspaper Benjamin Butterworth, and social commentator Esther Krakow. Would you let your partner go back to their homeland to fight for freedom? Mark at gbnews.uk.